everyone, welcome back. I haven't made a video in a while now because I've been focusing on developing games. Today I'm going to be doing a reaction video to somebody playing one of my games. In fact, the most recent game that I developed, which is this one right here, Dungeon Quest 1.5 Dragon Avenger. I sent a physical copy of this to TJ Ferreira. Some of you may have already seen his gameplay video. And today I'm going to be taking a look at that video and giving some reaction to it, as well as some behind the scenes insights into how I develop my games and what improvements I've made to this game based on his gameplay and his feedback. There's two main goals that I try to accomplish when I'm developing a game. The first goal is to get it completed, because no matter how fun your game is, if it never gets completed, then nobody's going to play it, and what's the point of even making it? And my second goal is to make the game fun. So I think that goal, as we're going to see in a moment, is where I kind of dropped the ball a bit this time around, and I think there are several opportunities for improvements in this game, and I actually have made several improvements to this game. It's all based on TJ's gameplay and TJ's feedback, so it's very valuable for me as a developer to see someone playing my game and seeing how they interact with the game and give me ideas of where my games can be improved. So let's go ahead and watch TJ playing Dungeon Quest 1.5 Dragon Avenger, and I'll give you some insights and we'll see how the next version of this game can be improved. So stick around, we'll get started right now. So let's go ahead and see what TJ thinks of my game, and I'll give you some insight into my development techniques and philosophies. So let's go ahead and get started and let the game begin.
Hi folks, TJ here. There once was a Canadian, up in Canada actually, and he was creating video games for a very obscure computer called the Aquarius. This first game that he made was ruthless, mean, cruel, and it was called Dungeon Quest. It came crazily to a bloke in the United States, me, and I received it, I played it, and I swore a few times, and a few more times, and it was a good day. You don't see many boxed edition Aquarius games, especially when the Aquarius only sold for like 3 months. But this is Dungeon Quest. No, the Canadian could not sit back and relax. He wanted to become more devious, more mean, more cruel. That's what Canadians do. They say they're friendly. I don't know about
We are friendly.
that. So he came up with something new. Dungeon Quest 1.5.
Okay, this game, you'll see, it doesn't have a big box version like my original Dungeon Quest game did. I produced it in a big box version and I sent it off to TJ, which he just showed. And normally I do produce a big box version of my games and send them off to TJ, but I figured his room must be getting pretty crowded by now, and I thought maybe he doesn't want big box versions of all my games because they take up more space. I figured he might appreciate some non-big box versions of my game, so I sent him Dungeon Quest 1.5 Dragon Avenger without a big box.
That's a crazy number. Dungeon Quest 1.5. So I'm wondering if Jay's going to come out with Dungeon Quest 2.1 later. Not 2.0. Has to be 2.1. Step it up a notch. But Dungeon Quest 1.5 Dragon Avenger.
Because this game wasn't intended to be a fully featured, fully fleshed out, elaborate game. It kind of turned out that way. Well, it did turn out that way, because whenever I start to make a game that I figure is just going to be some quick half-assed thing I'm going to do to make a point, which this game, actually, the point of me making this game to begin with was, as you'll see if you watch this video, is to make a game that doesn't rely on AI, artificial intelligence, to produce any of the components of the game. As you can see, this graphic here, this is completely hand done. I did this myself, which is why it looks so crappy. But I thought, since TJ has such a problem with AI for the most part, I thought I'm gonna, for his birthday, make a game using no AI whatsoever. But it was just intended to be a very quick, simplistic game. I ended up making a fully fledged game, a complete game, which is what I ended up sending him, although I did not use AI to produce it. So that was the reason I made this version of the game, and that's why it's called 1.5, because I was saving the version 2.0 to be a real sequel to my original Dungeon Quest game.
I recently did an unboxing, a world premiere unboxing. I call anything world premiere if I don't see a video on YouTube about it. It could be 20 years old, but if there's no YouTube video about it, it's a world premiere. So as of right now, this is a world premiere presentation of somebody actually playing the game. I don't think I've seen Jay do it yet. I don't think I've seen anybody else do it. System firmware 1.2 or above. I think I've got 1.2 on here. Plus basic version 2.7a or above.
So TJ is reading off the system requirements from the packaging, and this is designed for use on the Aquarius Plus computer. So TJ here is trying to remember what version of the system firmware he has, as well as what version of the Plus Basic he has installed in his system. So the system firmware will need to meet the requirements of my game, and my game can actually check for that. And so if his system doesn't meet the requirements, it will show a message saying your firmware, your system firmware needs to be updated, and then it'll stop. But the Plus Basic, actually, since he has a physical version of my game, then it doesn't really matter what version of Plus Basic he has installed in his computer, because I include whatever version of Plus Basic my game needs to run on the SD card, and it'll automatically use the version that I include on the SD card. So really, he doesn't need to worry about the version of Plus Basic in his computer, but he will need to worry about the system version number, but his system already has the required version number for that.
I better check and make sure I've got that. Compatible with keyboard and hand controllers, including 8-direction single button.
So, as you may have seen in the gameplay video when he tested my fairy game, the Grim Fairy Entrails game, that one I designed specifically for use with an Atari-style joystick, but it had to be connected through an adapter cable, which I had previously sent him, and that connects to the full-size Aquarius Plus computer, because the Aquarius Plus Mini that he has here, that he'll be playing this game on, it doesn't have any wired controller ports, so there's no place to plug in an Atari joystick adapter cable. But I wanted him to use that adapter cable. I sent it to him quite a while ago, actually with the original Dungeon Quest game, but he ended up using a different controller when he tested that game. So I wanted to kind of force him to use the joystick adapter cable, and I don't think he was too impressed with that, but it made for a funny video when he actually ended up doing it. But this game is designed to use any controller with the Aquarius Plus, but he's going to be using wireless controllers, which I think he'll be quite pleased about that it actually works.
So let's open this up, and I kind of showed some of this before. So he sent out a certificate.
So this is a funny little certificate I included just to certify that this game was actually made without the use of AI.
Let's remove this, put that here, and let's push in this one to a query bot. I gotta make sure everything's, is it on PC mode? Yeah, it is. Let's turn this little bad boy on.
His intention is to just start up the game to see if it works, where he wasn't intending to play the entire game, or even much of the game. I think he just planned to plug it in, turn it on, make sure it boots up, and then come back at some later point and do a gameplay video. But apparently he found the game so intriguing that he got wrapped up in it and ended up playing it for, 49 minutes this video is. So that's really good feedback for me. If my game is interesting enough that someone like TJ will get hooked into playing it when they're only intending to start it up and see if it actually works.
There we go, basic. Please make sure that Force Turbo mode is not enabled in your Aquarius Plus system settings.
So Force Turbo mode, in case you're not familiar with the Aquarius Plus, there are a few different versions of it, which make it a bit tricky as a developer to make my games compatible with physical systems that users may own. There is the original full-size Aquarius Plus, which contains an actual real Z80 processor, but it also contains an FPGA version of that Z80 processor. And the FPGA version of the processor runs at twice the speed of the Z80 processor. And when I say twice the speed of the Z80 processor, I mean twice the turbo mode speed, because the developers of this Aquarius Plus system, Sean Harrington and Frank and Curtis and all them, they made the Aquarius Plus include a turbo mode, which allows the Aquarius Plus to run at twice its normal speed. So a Z80 microprocessor normally will run at 3.54 megahertz. And so if you double that for turbo mode, that'll be about 7 megahertz. But if you use the FPGA version of the processor instead of the real Z80 processor, then you can even double that speed and get about 14 megahertz out of it. So of course, as a developer, I'm going to use the fastest version of the processor I can. I'm going to use the FPGA version. And so maybe the purists will enjoy having a real Z80 processor in their machine, but as a developer, I'm not going to make use of it because I want that extra speed, particularly programming in a slow language like BASIC. So this message that he's seeing here, it says, please make sure that forced turbo mode is not enabled. So forced turbo mode is that turbo mode setting I just mentioned, which allows the Z80 to run at twice its normal speed. So that is using the 7 megahertz speed. And if you enable this forced turbo mode, then the system is going to run at 7 megahertz. I want the system to run at 14 megahertz, but if you enable this forced turbo mode setting, it's going to be stuck at 7 megahertz. So this message is just to warn players to make sure they don't enable that forced turbo mode setting, because I don't want my game to be stuck at 7 megahertz. And if you don't enable this turbo mode, then I can programmatically have the computer run at double that speed, roughly 14-ish megahertz. All right, so let's go on here. Oh, and just to complete my discussion about the different versions of the Aquarius Plus, so that's the original full-size Aquarius Plus. It had both a real Z80 chip and an FPGA version Z80. The Aquarius Plus Mini also had two versions of the microprocessor, the real Z80 version and an FPGA version. But the version of the Aquarius Plus Mini that you see here hanging on the wall at TJ's Aquaribot is the newest version, which is called Aquarius Plus Mini VZ. And the VZ stands for Virtual Z80, which means it only has FPGA version of the Z80 chip. It does not contain an actual Z80 chip.
I don't think I have it on, so I think I'm good. If it has anomalies, then we'll know I did it. There we go.
Okay, now this controller, as you're going to see in TJ's video, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, for others they might think it's a good thing, but in my mind, unfortunately, the Aquarius Plus, the Aquarius computer originally had a controller with 6 buttons on it. Which is not as bad as the Intellivision controller, which has even more, but it would be pretty much of a stretch, I think, to design a game that even makes use of 6 buttons on a controller for the Aquarius. Maybe now we could, but these buttons would have to be, first of all, labeled with numbers, so that when you're telling the player, press button 3, they'll have to know which button 3 is. And you'll see in this video when TJ's playing this game, he has some difficulty trying to figure out which button to press. And it's probably partially my fault, because in my games I'm trying now to put less instructions in them in terms of press the enter key, press button number 1, press this, press that. Because normally when people are playing a game, you expect they're going to move the stick around, and they're going to probably press the main fire button at least once while they're playing, just to see if anything happens, which is normally what TJ does. Normally he plays my games, he presses the fire button, hoping, I think, that it's going to do something really cool. But as you'll see in this game, it takes him a long time to even try pressing the fire button. But also, since this controller has 6 buttons on it, then it makes it even more confusing to randomly press the right button. So it would be nice, I think, if the controller had one obvious button that you're supposed to press, or if the buttons were numbered. I don't think this new version of the controller, at least the one TJ has, which is a prototype. I don't know if and when these controllers are actually going to be made available for sale, but I would hope that these buttons would at least be numbered so that in my games I can instruct people which button to press. But you're going to see TJ has a lot of trouble figuring out which button to press, at least at the beginning. But it's this lower, well, the button on his left on the bottom row is button number 1 on this particular controller. And since this computer also uses the Xbox controller, as you'll see TJ using later on in the video, that makes it even more confusing because the button layout on an Xbox controller is totally different. The buttons on an Xbox controller are even more confusing. It has a different pattern of the buttons. It has shoulder buttons. It has all kinds of different buttons. It has a D-pad. It has a thumbstick. It would be even more confusing to try and teach the player which buttons they're supposed to press. So it would be nice once this controller actually gets released to the community. It would be really nice to have a set hardware for developers that we know what computer we're developing for, what its capabilities are, and what controller people are going to be using. So we'll see how TJ makes out using this controller and the Xbox controller later on in the video.
Spriteworx Studios. Let me adjust the lighting here. Janky Games. Woo! Let me play with the lighting here. I'm gonna turn off this lighting. Let's move this in a little closer.
It's a shame his TVs or monitors are not bigger. It would be nice to be able to see the games that he's playing for the Aquarius Plus in a bit larger format so he doesn't have to zoom in the camera so close. But he has a cool little Aquarius zone set up in his man cave there anyway. And you can see at the back here he's got his morning coffee waiting. This must be morning time. I think he drinks his coffee in the morning. You can see it back here waiting. And I'm sure by the end of this video it must have gotten cold. If you watch any of his videos, he usually has a spoon in his coffee cup, which bugs the hell out of me when I'm drinking coffee or anything like this. I don't like to have a spoon in my coffee cup. Obviously he likes to stir his coffee while he's drinking, but it would drive me crazy to have to fight with a spoon while I'm drinking my coffee. But everyone has their own opinions and their likes and dislikes. I just want to mention about his keyboard here. He has this Newfie keyboard, which he's made a video about. And I don't have this keyboard, and I don't have actually a wireless keyboard for any of my setups yet. But this keyboard, when I use a keyboard, I like it to have a good feel and a good sound. And it looks like, just from what I've seen in TJ using this keyboard, it seems to have a really good sound to it. So if you see any videos of TJ using this keyboard, it has a nice, well, they call it a thocky sound. So that's a stupid word, but I really like the sound this keyboard makes when you press the keys. Just a picky thing for me, but this is a cool little keyboard. And they even have, I think, a newer version of the keyboard. I'm not sure what the differences are. But yeah, and I'm wondering about this little knob thing at the top right, if you can use that to adjust the volume or something. But this is a cool keyboard that I would probably consider if I were looking for a modern retro kind of wireless keyboard.
Spriteworx Studios. Dragon Avenger. The story. So far, so good. My Sean Harrington wonderful gamepad.
And you can see this gamepad if you've watched TJ's unboxing video or first use video of this gamepad. I don't know what it's called. I think it's called the Aquarius Plus gamepad. But you can see here he has no wire connected to it, which is cool. This controller can be used either wirelessly or wired. So you need to unscrew it and open it up and disconnect the wire if you want to use it. Well, you don't have to do that, but if you want to, you can open up this controller, remove the cable, and use it completely wirelessly, which he's done. So this is a cool looking controller, and hopefully it gets released at some point in the future. So one thing that you're going to see now in the video that we're going to see is he does have a bit of difficulty as I'm pointing to the word difficulty, he has a bit of difficulty adjusting the difficulty, which is my fault as a developer, and we'll see why in a moment.
Difficulty? So there's flame? How do you...
You see, so this is already a problem for me as a developer. The first thing he tried to do to adjust the difficulty setting is to move the stick, which didn't do anything because I don't have the difficulty menu option set to react to the stick movement. It's set to react to only one button, which is this button number 1 on this controller. So it takes him a while to figure out that this button number 1 is the main button that this game reacts to. So this is the first point I can tell you in the enhancements and improvements I made to the newer version of this game, which is I set the menu to react to change the difficulty setting to the stick movement as well. So if you push the stick to the right, it will now change the difficulty setting. And probably something else I should or could have done is to make all of these buttons react the same. Since my game only uses one button, then I could have made it, I think, so that any button you press does the same thing. So I think I'll consider implementing that feature in future games maybe, so that people don't have to hunt around and try to figure out which button to press. Although, as we'll see later on in the video, the newer version of my game that is the enhanced version, it actually uses 2 buttons. It uses button number 1 and button number 2. And I'll talk about that a bit more later.
It's always on flame. Okay, left and right, and that's not doing anything. Is it one of these? Oh, that was the one. Okay, so there's flame, inferno, ember.
So he finally figured it out, which button you need to press to change the difficulty. In my mind, it shouldn't be that complicated to figure out, so that's feedback for me as a developer to improve that.
We'll keep it on the flame one that's there. The story now, I think, should be the same as what we just read, but let's just go there just in case. And then enter the dungeon. I guess that's it.
That is it.
Okay, so we're already in the game. Look at this little dude. Oh, look, he jams. Oh, I touched the chest. Chest contains a weapon. Nice. So apparently I've got the weapon. I think I found a weapon. It's a long sword. So you can see Jimmy's around pretty nicely. Look at that. Jimmy. He's like a dancing knight. Jimmy.
So this is running at the fastest possible speed, and it allows the sprite to move very smoothly. So this sprite is actually moving in 8-pixel chunks. So I'm not moving it pixel by pixel, although you can see when TJ is moving the sprite around, it looks like it's moving very smoothly. So you don't have to move your sprite 1 pixel at a time to make it look smooth. In this case, the size of this sprite and the 8-pixel movement, is it 8 pixel or 4 pixel? I think it's 8 pixel. That makes it look very smooth to the point where TJ's having fun just making this guy dance around the screen, which I think is an important thing in game mechanics. If you can make a game that's just fun to just fool around with, like TJ's just making this little knight guy dance around the screen. So if your game is fun without even doing anything to advance the game plot at all, you're just moving the guy around the screen, that is good feedback for me as well. So I know that the game mechanics are fun just moving this little knight person around. Okay,
so let's just peruse. You know, you got to pay attention to every little thing. I don't know what these are, but there's something. It just may be part of the decoration.
Yeah, they actually are just part of the decoration. Although I could easily have incorporated them into the game. I could have put a hidden text character near these graphic images on the screen in the position of these images, and I could have made it so that something happens when this knight character goes near these objects. But in this case, in my game, there's simply decoration.
Okay, so I don't see anything else in this room. I've got a lot of hearts. I've got a lot of those. I forget what those are already. Mana. That's mana. And then I've got the different agility and things up there. So I've only got one of those. So let's go to the right. Oh! So I'm fighting him! Oh, you can move. You can move. Kick his ass. Oh, you can shoot him. Shoot the chakras. Oh, shit. Shoot the chakras. Shoot the shimmies. Shoot the... Oh, shit, he's touching me. You bastard. He shoots the direction you're holding.
Our first
look
new
at
bastard.
That. Shoot him. Shoot him. Shoot him. And shoot him. Got him. You won. 20 gold. This is bitchin'. I'm already digging this.
That's always the feedback you want to see, or I want to see when I see TG playing a game. This is bitchin'. I'm already digging this. It doesn't get much better than that. It kind of goes downhill from there, but at least at this point he's having a lot of fun.
So you touch the nasty, you go into the room, and then all of a sudden a whole big melee screen thing comes up that takes you to a whole one-on-one dimension, and then you shoot. In this case, I was smart enough to start hitting buttons, and I'm shooting them, and you can direct the shots, it looks like, and you got to hit them a lot of times.
Yeah, luckily he did happen to randomly press the one button that makes his knight shoot. I guess I could have made all the buttons shoot and just hope that he presses at least one button while he's fighting, or I could have put in instructions in the game that says press this button to shoot, but I like to watch TJ kind of figure it out for himself, and he usually does figure it out, and I think that's kind of the fun of it, to have a surprise in the game while you're playing it. And originally when I programmed this, I made the shots go in whatever direction the knight was moving. So if he was moving down, the shot would go down. If he was moving left, the shot would go left. But then I figured there's no point in having the shots go left and right and down because the enemy is not left and right and down. So I thought that's not fun. Let's always have it so the shot is at least sort of going in the direction of the enemy, which would be some up direction.
There was that little buzzard thing flying around. That must be his, whatever it is. It's a magic spell. He tooted and that toot's following me. So I won 20 gold. So I'm guessing I hit something.
See, now this is not good. So he's still not confident which button he should press because I didn't tell him which button he needs to press or even give him any instructions. I could have put a note on the bottom here that says press button number 1 to exit or something, but I kind of don't want my games to be full of all these messages anymore. But I need some way around that. Maybe, again, like I said, maybe I'll have multiple buttons do the same thing, but I don't know if that might make it even more confusing. I don't know. So I'll just keep watching videos like this and get inspiration for how to improve my games.
Shit! I won 20 gold, but... Oh, there we go. Okay, I think I hit the rail.
You figured it out?
So apparently... So that was my first battle. Oh, shit. Look, I'm down to one freaking heart. I took a lot of kills.
Okay, now we're going to see later on in the video that he actually has more than just this one heart, and he's going to be confused later as to why he has more than just one heart, because he actually has, unbeknownst to him, is that he has some health potions as well as mana potions in his inventory. But at this point he hasn't even he doesn't even know he has an inventory, but he'll find that later on in the game. So at this point he doesn't know that he has health and mana potions in reserve, that they're going to be used automatically. So later on when he gets into a fight, this health bar will replenish itself.
I got a lot of manas, but look at that. I'm about dead. I better go find something that's going to heal me because Sir Knight is screwed.
Okay, so again, he doesn't know that he has some backup health potions. And if you notice here, this little white thing is actually a recharge countdown timer for refilling the mana bar. But I could tell by TJ playing this game in this video that I made this way too slow. So you'll see in the updated version of this game, I really juiced up the recharge speed for the mana because you need a lot of mana to fight these minions. So this recharge feature I have implemented right here is pretty much useless. It's way too slow to be of use, which became obvious as I watched TJ's video. And also in the new version of the game, I decided to display the backup potions for health and mana on this main game screen here as well. So I think that's going to make it more fun to play, which is the whole point, right?
I mean, do you go back to the beginning? Oh shit! The dragon is here! Holy frack of rocks!
Okay, so he's encountered the dragon. The dragon pops up randomly. And what you need to do now is you have several options of what you want to do in terms of interacting with the dragon. You can try to run away, which you may or may not get damaged. You can attack the dragon with a weapon. You can cast a spell. You can offer a gem, or you can offer gold. So the dragon will respond and can be defeated by only one of these categories. So first you need to determine what category will defeat the dragon, and you do that by studying the dragon's responses. And then you just need to figure out which specific item the dragon wants. So let's watch some more.
Run away, attack. Oh, I'm gonna die. This has become a specky game. I can cast a spell. I didn't know I can offer a gem. I would normally start fighting, but we're gonna offer a gem. Do I have a gem? No, I don't have a gem. I'm gonna offer some gold, because I got gold. Offer gold. Some form of currency, I presume. How silly humans value shining yellow rocks. I'll dispose of these for you at no charge. F you, you bastard!
I always laugh when I see him have that response. So I like my games to elicit an emotion of some sort, even if it's that one. This is where TJ is supposed to be studying the responses of the dragon to try and figure out what the dragon wants. Does it even want gold? So TJ offered the dragon gold. Let's see if we can figure out from this response if the dragon wants gold. So it says, how silly humans value shiny yellow rocks. So that would tell me that the dragon is not interested in gold, and the dragon thinks it's silly that humans value gold to begin with, and he disposes of the gold for TJ. So this should tell TJ that the dragon is not interested in gold, so don't try offering the dragon gold in the future.
The dragon takes all of your gold! Oh shit! And that little Slurpee's back alive! Oh, I'm dead. We better go travel more. I need heart. Oh, there's a chest. The chest contains an amulet. Oh, good. So I've got another amulet here. This is fun. Agility amulet. It told me what I've got. Oh, shit. Can I go past him? Run by. You don't have to touch him. Apparently, I just... okay.
Yeah, so you don't actually have to touch those little guys. There's always a way past them.
Okay, let's go get another chest. A red one. The chest contains a gemstone. Nice, I got a gemstone. It's a ruby.
He has a ruby.
Okay. Anything else in this room?
Nope.
Oh, look at that! Was that an automatic thing, or did I touch something? It went when I was up here. I heard something, or did I lose something?
You see, that mana regeneration thing is so slow that TJ's not even expecting. He doesn't even know what it is when it makes that noise, because it's so infrequent that the mana regenerates itself that he's surprised by that noise and doesn't know what it even means. But in the new version of the game, that problem is taken care of. And you can see also, at this point in the game, TJ hasn't even pressed the button. So for sure, if he was using an Atari-style joystick that has one button, I'm pretty sure he would have pressed that button by now, just randomly while wandering through the maze. But since this thing has so many buttons on it, and he's not sure if they do anything or if he should even try pressing them, by this point I would have expected him to press that button number 1 and realize that there's a menu that brings up a map and the inventory screen. But he's already explored a few rooms and he hasn't found the button yet. So that is good feedback for me as well. So I should either put an instruction that you should press a button, but I think it's reasonable to expect that players would at least try to press one button at some point while they're playing the game, which he does later on.
Oh, no. No. Don't touch him. Oh, touch that. Oh, I can't touch it. Are any of these things? Touch. Nope. No touching. How about this thing over here? Nope. Okay, let's go down. I don't want to fight. I'm already got one heart left. Oh, no. Dive down. Dive deep. How about this one? I can't, no. Oh, I got to have a key for those. Okay. See, it said no key. I didn't see that before. Let's go die today. Okay. Attack. Long sword. Yes.
So he's trying to attack with his sword. And now, this doesn't mean he's actually going to fight the dragon, but it's just an option to see if fighting is a way you can defeat the dragon. So now we need to study the dragon's response to see if fighting is a way that can defeat the dragon.
Do you really think a magnificent creature such as a dragon can be tamed by puny human weapons? Think again, weakling.
Okay, so the dragon doesn't say, this is the wrong weapon, bring me a different weapon and maybe you'll win. It says a dragon can't be defeated by human weapons. So this means there's no point trying to use weapons against the dragon. But this is not obvious when TJ's playing the game. And I've noticed that when TJ gets used to a game that has text in it, he tends to skim over it and just pick out the highlights of what the text means. He did that in the fairy game that I sent him as well, which is good. Because you don't want to have to read text constantly throughout a game unless it's a text adventure. But in the new version of the game, I've made it much more obvious as to what the dragon is trying to tell you in relation to the way you've chosen to try to interact with it, with her.
The dragon has destroyed your weapon. Another F you to you son of a bitch. But apparently, it let me live because it didn't. It just did a little battle. I'm a little worried here. I keep running into that dragon. So far, it's the booklet basically said this was going to happen. Okay, let's go in this one. Oh no, you need a key. You need a key. That's what did it. Okay, that was the automatic mana thing. So earlier when I heard that Gnip Gnop, I thought I touched something. That's just, you're pillaging the dungeon. You're getting some mana by doing that. You need the right colored keys. Well, that one doesn't. Apparently the yellow one I'm good on. The chest contains an amulet. Okay, good. Let's fight. I want to fight again. Shoot!
Yeah, so you can see here he's got 3 mana icons left, and each time you shoot the minion, it takes up one of these mana things. So the way I've got the game programmed here is one of the major reasons that it's not fun. As you're going to see, TJ gets frustrated, and he actually ends up rage quitting this game because he can't fight these guys anymore. He just runs out of mana, and it's the way it's programmed. You just don't have enough mana to be able to fight these things very often. You have to constantly go and buy more mana, and it's just not fun. So I've fixed that, I think, hopefully, in the updated version of the game. But you're going to see here he's going to run out of mana, and he's not going to enjoy it.
Okay, run around, and then diagonal. You have no mana to fight me! Oh, what the hell? Did I... So, am I alive still? Apparently, I'm alive. It basically stopped the battle. It said, I've got no mana, so it just went away. You don't got what I need. You can live. Apparently, that's what... Because I would think it would just want to kick my ass. Oh, look at the mana. It's about to run out. That's not good. Let's just run around with reckless... Let's fight. Let's fight. You have... Okay, apparently I can no longer fight. You have no mana to fight me. Yeah. So it's kind of keeping me alive. So I think that Jay's, like I said, his games are friendly. It's like, I don't want you to die. I want you to keep playing the video game. You've got... Oh, look, the mana's about out. So I think shortly... Oh, look, I got a mana again. So basically, when you get down to a time clock, you better run around. Oh, shit, the dragon's there.
Yeah, so I do like to keep the players alive. I don't kill them off instantly. The reason that a lot of specky games killed off the players so quickly, I think, is because of the memory limitations of the Speccy computers. You didn't have enough memory to make huge, elaborate games where you could play them for hours, unless you died all the time and had to replay your levels over and over again constantly. And that is, in my opinion, an artificial way of kind of increasing the perceived value of a game, because the player gets a lot of playtime out of the game, but in my opinion, dying over and over again is not fun playtime. So I don't have my games kill the player off so quickly. I want you to actually play the game and enjoy playing the game, since now with this computer, for example, the Aquarius Plus, there really are no more memory limitations. You can make a game as big as you want and just constantly load more code from the SD card. So there's no excuse for, in my opinion, having the player get killed frequently in order to artificially extend the playtime. Just make a bigger game.
Cast spell. You have no magic scrolls to cast a spell. Well, shit. Offer a gem. A ruby.
Well, I'll explain a bit more later, but this is one of the bugs that I found from TJ playing the game. You can see here he's giving his ruby to the dragon who's going to destroy it. But then later on, when he finds the inventory screen, it says he still has that ruby, and that highlighted to me a bug in the game where it wasn't handling the rubies properly or the gemstones properly. So when you offer the dragon a gemstone, it should remove that gemstone from your inventory, which it wasn't doing. But I've fixed that bug in the updated version.
This gemstone sparkles like the fireflies inside. I haven't been paying attention to the dragon.
That's right, you haven't. You haven't been paying attention to the dragon's messages. So in this message, let's watch TJ read the rest of the message, and then I'll give you some more insight.
Didn't it tell me pay attention to the dragon, TJ?
Yes.
I haven't. I've been just going into battle. I need to look closer.
See, you don't know how a player is going to interact with your game all the time. Even if you put in the manual, pay attention to the dragon's responses, that doesn't mean the player is going to follow your instructions. They may not even remember that instruction. In this case, TJ got so involved with the other arcadey aspects of the game, I think, that he wasn't concentrating on the text parts of it.
Like the fireflies inside your empty head. Find me one that is worthy of a refined teeth. This son of a bitch.
So this text says, this is kind of a text adventure in that you have to pay attention to the text. It says, this gemstone sparkles like the fireflies inside your empty head. Find me one that is worthy of my refined taste. So the dragon doesn't say, I'm not interested in gemstones, get lost. He says, find me one that is worthy of my refined taste, which means she is interested in gemstones, but not this particular gemstone. She wants one that is worthy of her refined taste. So now we know that the dragon wants a gemstone, and all the other items you collect, you can go sell to the merchant for gold.
The dragon crushes your gemstone to fine powder. But so you basically have a quick battle, and then it moves on. So well, let's just keep running around. We need to get some mana. Yeah. Just run around like you're streaking. Do Canada have streakers? Running around naked?
We do have streakers.
We love streaking here in the United States.
I think they love streaking everywhere.
Okay. So I'm just pillaging right now. Okay, I should be able to battle now. I've got mana. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, and it took my... So if you get in a fight, you lose mana like left nuts. If you've only got a couple, you're not going to get too far. So he's keeping you alive. That's what Jay does. He's keeping you alive to torture you. That's what Canadians do. So I can't fight. I don't have I need to just run around. Okay, let's run below him. Now, am I paying close attention to the... I'm probably going to just start running in circles, because that's typically what I do. I start running around in circles.
Yeah, and that's what I would do too. If I was playing a maze game and I didn't have a map, then I would be running around in circles, which is, in my opinion, not fun either. So I don't want the players to just run around in circles, which is why I included a map. But so far, TJ hasn't found the map due to the controller issues I discussed before. So I would either want to put a note in the instructions saying that there is a map, or maybe make it easier to find the map. But he eventually does find it. So let's fast forward now to an interesting point later on in the game. So we already know that he's not able to fight. He doesn't have enough mana. So I did fix that in the updated version of the game. So now he's just gone through this door at the top of the screen, and he's entering this room, and a message is going to pop up saying that this door slammed behind him.
That's the heavy iron door slams shut behind you, and your heart fills with dread as you realize you must have entered the fabled hall of lost souls, from which there is said to be no escape. You do remember hearing of a secret passage supposedly hidden somewhere within the endless corridors. Could it actually exist?
All right, so I know I'm doing a lot of commentary, but if you want to see just TJ talking by himself, then you can watch his video. But he actually, as I kind of found out later in his video, it seems as though he thought that he was exploring this part of the maze below these locked doors. He doesn't realize that he's already gone through this door and it slammed shut behind him. He thinks he's just entered this room and he's found this locked door, and he needs to go up to get through this door and find a way to do that, find a key or something, which is not the case. So I'm not going to give something away here, but there obviously the secret exit that message talked about does actually exist, and TJ actually walks right by it while he's playing this game without noticing it, because I put no visual clues in the screen to indicate where the secret exit might be, and I also made it fairly difficult to accidentally stumble upon it. So that's one thing I changed also as a result of watching this gameplay video, is I made the secret exit not quite so secret, and I made it easier to activate that exit once you get near it. So again, it's very useful for me to watch TJ's gameplay videos of my games, and particularly this one. There's quite a few updates I made to it based on his responses to this original version of the game. So let's fast forward a bit now to another interesting part where he does finally discover the menu, which should be here.
About secret passages? I'm touching stuff just in case. You know, like how his shield goes to, look at that, I didn't pay attention before. His shield goes in the direction he's walking. That's a nice little change. Okay, so this room's pissing me off. Oh!
Okay, so it's a good timing actually. Just before he found accidentally this menu, he said, "This room is pissing me off." And then he accidentally pressed the button to bring up this menu.
I pushed the bottom left button, return. There is a map. Okay, apparently in this room, I don't remember this doing it elsewhere. When you're up at that door, let's go any place in the room. Return, map, inventory. Let's look at our inventory. Cool.
So the menu feature actually doesn't happen. It does happen in every location in the map, but he just didn't happen to press the button in. This is the first room that he happened to press the button. So this is where he found the inventory for the first time, or the menu for the first time. And you can see here this ruby is still here. So even though he gave the ruby to the dragon, it's still showing up in the inventory. So that I had to go back and rewatch this video to see if this actually was a bug, and it turned out it was a bug. And because of this video, I was able to fix the bug. So if you're developing games for any of the systems that TJ owns, then you might want to send him one of your games and he can play it, and you can see how someone like TJ reacts to your game. For me, it's been a very valuable video to watch this gameplay video.
Okay, inventory. I've got no weapons because the dragons busted them all. I've got a ruby. I've got no scrolls. Health, potions. I've got no keys. I've got no gold. So, map. There we go.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, you can see how excited he is just to see the map, which I don't blame him. He's been wandering around aimlessly in this game without the use of a map, and to finally find it after 31 minutes, it must be pretty exciting. So there we go. There is the map. And it was actually a pain to line up all these little colored chests to make them line up with the rooms in my map. I didn't really plan it very well when I laid it out, but I was able to kind of get them to line up well enough. So the little chests, again, are images from the text screen, and the background image with all the rooms is a bitmap, a full screen bitmap. What else did I want to say about this? Yeah, okay, so when you see this map, you can see which colored chests are in which rooms, as well as you can see where your character is. The knight is down here. But in the improved version of this game, I added a hint function to the map. So that's all I'll say about that for now. TJ never does find his way out of this area of the map because it has a secret exit that is too well hidden that he can't obviously see. But in the updated version of this game, it's more obvious how to get out of this part of the maze. So he actually ends up restarting the game over again. When you restart the game over again, it starts you off in this upper left-hand corner, and then he realized that he must have walked all the way down and gone through this door and it locked behind him. So he does realize that eventually, but for now he's stuck in this part of the maze. But he does escape by restarting the game. So let's fast forward to that point. So you can see on this Xbox controller how many buttons there are. Everyone, I think, is probably familiar with Xbox controllers, but look at all the buttons on this thing. You've got a thumbstick, you've got a D-pad, you've got another thumbstick, which I don't know if this right thumbstick actually does anything on the Aquarius Plus or not. Maybe, I don't know. And then there's 3 buttons in the middle. There's these 4 buttons over here. There's 2 shoulder buttons up top. There's 2 more shoulder buttons below those. And depending which version of this controller you buy, there may be 2 more shoulder buttons in below those, or trigger buttons. So I think very confusing to try and figure out what you're supposed to be pressing on an Xbox controller on a retro or vintage retro computer such as the Aquarius Plus. This, to me, is way too complicated for a retro computer. I would love to see a very much simpler controller for the Aquarius Plus. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to be using either the Xbox controller, or if this custom controller ever sees the light of day and becomes available for people in the community, then we'll have this one. At least this one has fewer buttons than the Xbox controller. I don't know what it's like to use. I haven't tried it. It looks like it would be comfortable, but I don't know. But yeah, it would be nice to have a standard controller for developers to know what they're programming for. And here you can see TJ has found the merchant. And yeah, I know the knight is way smaller than the merchant, but it's unavoidable, and I don't think it really detracts from the game at all. TJ didn't mention it, but I think it's fine. It looks a bit weird to have a little tiny knight down here and a gigantic merchant, but I think it looks pretty cool anyway. And this is an example of a full screen bitmap you can use on the Aquarius Plus. That was one thing I was concerned about, if he would be able to find the exit, but he stumbled upon it accidentally. And then how to interact with the shopkeeper. In order to do that, you need to just kind of walk over in this area, and then the game will automatically show a menu, which TJ found pretty quickly as well.
Out of this.
So now he has trouble exiting and you can't see it here, but right here there is a word that says all done. So that was something else I was worried about. Would people realize that they're supposed to go down to this all done entry and highlight it, and then that's how you exit this buy screen? And that's one thing I did update in the new version of the game as well. I just put a little note over here saying that you need to click on that all done selection to exit this screen. Alright, so I want to thank TJ very much for playing my game and doing a gameplay video of my original Dungeon Quest 1.5 Dragon Avenger game. And based on his feedback, I've made an updated version with several enhancements and improvements, which is actually right here, but I'm not going to show you the label. because I don't think TJ's unboxed it yet. I did send him a copy of this, but we'll keep that as a surprise for when he does his gameplay video of the updated version, which I'm hoping he will enjoy even more than he enjoyed playing the original version. So we'll keep an eye out for that, and it may even be published by the time you watch this video. So as always, thanks for watching, take care of yourself, and until next time, we'll see you later. Bye for now.